Hey, it's Travis, and today we're jumping in to pulled pork. This is what they would call a Boston butt or a pork shoulder. You can find them in your local grocery store with either bone in or boneless, and anywhere from about 8 to 15 pounds. This piece of meat is versatile. You can do so much with it, and it is super easy to cook. You can cook it in your oven, you can cook it in a crock pot, or low and slow, hot and fast on a grill. But we're going to focus on trimming this butt to where it can maximize your flavor, maximize what you're putting on it. This thing right now is probably about 12 pounds. We're going to trim it down. We're going to get some of the fat off of it, and then we're going to smoke it. We're going to pull it back in. We can serve it to large groups. This will feed about 12 to 20 people. We can portion it out, freezer pack it, put it in your freezer. You can pull it out and have pulled pork nachos. You can have enchiladas. You can do so much with this piece of meat. I just want to make sure you're getting the best flavor and the best bite. So check it out. All right, first off, we bought a 2-pack. They come 2 in a cryovac. You can buy them single. And again, like I said, this is about a 12-pounder. Some of the things that you're going to want to use: a sharp kitchen knife. If you have a bone-in knife like this, a chef's knife sometimes work. A small paring knife, just something that you can get most of this fat off. I also like to use latex or neoprene gloves. They keep the mess down. You don't have to touch the meat, and it makes it a little bit easier to do. So we're going to go and break this down. We're not looking for a competition grade trim. We're not looking to turn this into judges on a Saturday. However, this portion over here, as you see, is what they would call the money muscle. This is what they would call the horn. And then underneath you have the bacon meat and the tubes. We're not really looking to break this down into those separate meat groups. All we're going to do is try to remove some of this fat so that we can impact more flavor. Take very little cuts. Don't go into it too deep. This horn, there's a layer of fat in between. Again, you can leave it on. You can cook this butt exactly like you get it from the store. Open it out of the package. But if you're going to serve it to guests and you're going to use it for your family to eat, I want you to be able to turn in and cook the best product you can. So what we're going to do is just take our knife. We're going to run it down, looking not to cut into any of that meat. But as you can see, as I pull this back, you can see all of this silver skin, this fat. If you cook it, when you put it on your grill or in your crock pot, yes, some of that fat's going to render. However, that fat's still going to be there. And when you start pulling it and you're serving it to your guest, you have you risk the chance of somebody biting into a sandwich and getting that. Plus, I can put more flavor and more seasoning in this when I cut this fat off, and know that the meat is actually going to adhere and get that good flavor. Don't be scared. When you're starting out, make sure you, like I said, take small cuts. Don't cut too much. Don't cut too much into the meat. And once you feel comfortable enough that you've gotten a lot of that stuff, like right there, I'm just going to stop. I could probably trim this off. However, that's a good piece of meat right there. I'm going to focus on this back side. Just run my knife up. Try to get some of this so I can, again, adhere some of that season that I'll be using on this butt. Once you get this, this is probably the most tedious portion of the butt when you're trimming it out like this. It's got the most fat. Everything else is just a hard layer of fat on the outside. The bottom, I try to trim it up decently, but I don't over trim. I don't want to trim too much fat off of it. Some of that fat on the bottom is going to protect some of that meat. So right there, I'm probably going to stop. I can probably take this little portion off here, but this is going to allow me to get flavor all the way down the horn and all the way on this flat. Now, if I turn it over, you're going to see what I'm talking about. This is a big layer of fat. I'm going to want to take a lot of this off. This is probably just gonna sit there. Some of it will render, yes. It will protect your butt when you put it on the grill. However, if you're cooking it in the oven or if you're cooking it in a crock pot, it's just gonna sit there in this fat. It's really not gonna do much. I like to take it down to about 1/8 of an inch. I know a lot of people out there, I've had it on some of my videos, some of my social media posts where I get yelled at or talked to about fat is flavor. However, I'm not going to serve that to my family or my friends on a sandwich. That's just, it's not going to be what they want to eat. And once I get this down to about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, I'm going to stop. That's it. That is plain and simple what you want your trim to look like. And then we're going to season it up. It's going to take the seasoning a little bit better. We're not going to inject this butt. We're not going to do much of anything other than possibly putting a binder. You can use mustard. You can use spray oil. I've used both. Both work out well. I'm not going to put anything on this. I'm just going to put the seasoning on. And right there, that is super simple. It took us, a couple minutes, but those couple of minutes of doing that little pre-trim is going to make this butt more flavorful, more enjoyable for your guest. Again, just cut some of that out, and here it is. I mean, that right there is what is on that you were going to go and just throw it on your smoker and cook it. A lot of that's just not going to be flavor. Some of it will render, but a lot of it's going to be there when you start pulling it. So now all that's left is seasoning. And what we're going to end up seasoning this one with is we're going to go with a really savory flavor. We're going to try to impact some flavors, not necessarily traditional barbecue. We are going to use a sweet rub. However, we want to build a layer of flavors so that we can use this not just for barbecue pulled pork, but we can use it for other stuff. Like I said, we're gonna freeze some of this and use it for pulled pork tacos, use it for enchiladas, things like that. So you don't necessarily want 100% barbecue flavor, but we want it savory. We want a little bit of sweet. We want to impart those flavors. So stay tuned. And the next video will be us layering the flavors on. Thanks for watching. Hey, it's Travis, and we're back with our pork butt. We did that minimal trim. We got some of that fat so I can impart more flavor onto the meat pieces. We trimmed the bottom to about 1/8 of an inch. We left some of that fat because we do want it for protection. So when it sizzles on the grill, it doesn't burn too much of that meat. Now, if you're cooking this in the oven or the crock pot especially, you probably want to take a little bit more of that layer of fat off. But right here is perfect for the grill. And again, I told you that we're going to use this for many different things. We're not just doing pulled pork sandwiches. So we don't necessarily want a super sweet barbecue-y pulled pork. We want something a little savory. So what we're going to end up doing today is we're going to start out with some Bama Q butter bomb. This is a super savory. It's got some herbs. It's a buttery, garlicky flavor. Really, really good base rub. I like to use the most salty of the rubs in my flavor profile. I like to use them first because that salt is going to penetrate the meat, but it's also going to actually take some of the moisture out. It's going to draw the moisture out of the meat, so it's going to make it really super nice, and the ability to put other flavors on top of it, it'll help adhere to it. So we're just going to lightly coat it. We're not going crazy, but we want to get it on all the sides. If you can cover the meat, that's what's going to give you the flavor. Again, we've trimmed this. We open this up. So look, now I can get flavor here where normally you wouldn't be able to because that flap would be just all fat. Once I get this done, I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes, or I would let it sit for about 5 minutes. Let some of that moisture pull off of it, and then I would layer it down. Because we're making this video, I'm going to go ahead and put the other rubs on. What you will notice I do not do, there is no other rub that's going to go on the bottom of it. I'll hit all the other sides, but I won't put the rub on the bottom. One, some of these rubs have sugar in it. The sugar hitting that hot grill is going to burn. Part two, a lot of that fat's going to melt off, and I'm not wasting a $10 rub on meat that I'm not going to eat, and or it's going to wash away when it starts rendering. This is the only sweet rub that I'm going to use on this butt. This is Hottie Toddy Sweet Chipotle. It's got a mildly sweet flavor, but it gives you that little chipotle smoked flavor. I like this because it allows for you to do so much more with this pork than just barbecue. If you want to do barbecue, it's going to be good. It's going to give you that nice flavor. However, if you want to do enchiladas, pulled nachos, anything like that, it's also going to help you with that flavor as well, with that smoky chipotle. Again, this is just a little medium. I'm not going heavy on any of it. I'm going light to medium. I get it in this. Again, remember we cut it, but look at all of that meat that gets some rub on it. It's going to give you better flavor. From there, I'm going to use the Flaps All-Purpose. This is a savory, really great color. You're going to see the color come out of it when this goes on. It's got a mild citrus to the end, but it's really, really good on pork. So we're just going to lightly coat it. Again, a medium, a light to medium is fine on this one. Make sure you get inside that horn meat, impart that flavor, get it all the way around. And then we have one more rub to use, but you can see that amazing color that comes out using that Flaps All-Purpose. That red, it's going to make that bark look good. And speaking of bark, the last rub we're going to use is Thriller Texas Beef. This says Texas Beef on it. However, this has got really good coarse grind on it, and you'll be able to see it when I start applying it. It's got a really dark, rich red color. It does have some smoked maple powder in it, so it's going to give you a really good flavor. But that red color and that coarse grind is going to make the appearance of this so much better. It's going to help build that smoke, that bark. We're smoking it, so of course we want to build that bark. That coarse grind is going to give you that. Just like that, we are done. We're going to let it sit for about an hour to 2 hours. Probably not any more because we're going to cook it low and slow. So it's going to have plenty of time on the smoker where the flavors and that season is going to soak up to it. But this is simple. It's it. That's how we season it. That's how we trim it. Hopefully you take some of these ideas, use whatever combo of rubs that you like. These are just stuff that we enjoy and we love using. So that's why we use it. But use whatever you like, whatever flavors you like. We're going to smoke this, like I said, low and slow, probably about 250. We're going to run it through the night. We're actually cooking a couple of them. We're going to run it through the night. We're going to wrap it with some butter, some brown sugar, just to add that sweetness and keep it moist. And that's simple. That is it. You can do the same thing. Like I said, cook it in your crock pot, in your oven, and you're going to enjoy this because it's going to give you one meal for 20 people, pulled pork sandwiches, watching the big game, or you can portion it out and it'll give you 2 to 3 dinner ideas moving through the week. So check us out on Facebook, on Instagram. If you like this video, comment below. Let us know what you want to see next. We want to make these backyard grilling videos because that's what it's all about, is friends, family, and good food. So kick the tire, light the fire. It's barbecue time.